Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mind of Marshall, where we give you advanced influence strategy with basic understanding to help you get more out of your business. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is a way to effortlessly communicate your message or concept to your prospect without being pushy or manipulative, using a powerful secret older than World War II. You see, this technique is used by some of the very best, myself included, and if you want to get more leads, drive more sales, and expand your business, then you really need to add this powerful tool to your influencing arsenal. So, why is this important? This is important because if you can't influence your prospect, then you have no chance of making them followers, and you run the risk of losing them to your competition. Now, in an economy where competition is so stiff, you can ill afford to miss out on good quality prospects within your market. Not to mention the fact that society is so heavily distracted by all the things around, like social media channels like Snapchat and Instagram, the perpetual ominous news trends where we're constantly being bombarded with all these stories that are going on, not to mention the rigors of everyday life. And in most cases, the reason why some of the people I've worked with aren't more successful is because they don't include this strategy. This is missing from their implementation. So by adding this to your implementation, you should easily see a dramatic difference in your business. Not to worry though, because by the time you finish this session, you'll know what this technique is and how to use it effectively to increase your gains. But before I divulge this powerful technique, I want to start by telling you about a time when I was coming to terms with the whole business thing. When I was trying to make sense of it all, I was lost, I was confused, morale was low, and I wasn't even sure if I could make it work. I'd spent money on courses and books, but I still couldn't figure it out. I still felt like there was a little bit missing. It was just preventing me from getting over the line. And I even considered giving up. I just thought maybe it wasn't for me. However, I stuck at it, I persevered, and I was fortunate enough to seek mentorship by a great man who was a true advocate of master salesmanship. And he really helped guide me to a position where I was able to prosper greatly in a series of different markets and even release my own content, which is something I never dreamed about. And that's the beauty of never giving up and staying focused on your dream. Okay, now you may be thinking, what's the point of this little anecdote, but that's how powerful what I just did really is. Because it got you to sit up and listen while I communicated a message of never giving up, not being afraid to ask for help, and staying focused on your dream. And that, my friends, is the power of the anecdotal disclosure strategy. Because it allows you to certainly drive a point across in a much more memorable fashion and create a much more personal connection. Now, I could have simply said, never give up, don't be afraid to ask for help, and stay focused on your dream. But it's not nearly as powerful and doesn't get half as much attention as using this strategy, because the truth is, since we were little kids, we've been conditioned to listen to a good story, whether it's in a movie or a fictional book, even if a friend or family tells it. And it often communicates a point, and it's much easier to remember than simply just saying that point out loud. Okay, now, as always, don't always just take my word for it, so listen to what Jennifer Aakers has to say on the power of anecdotes and stories.
In one study, researchers asked students to make a 1-minute persuasive pitch to other members in their class. And on average, a typical student used 2.5 statistics in their pitch. Only 1 in 10 told a story. 10 minutes later, the researcher asked everyone to pull out a sheet of paper and write down every single idea they remembered. Only 5% remembered any statistic. 63% of the students remembered the story. Stories are memorable in a way that statistics aren't. Now let me talk about impact. Research shows that individuals are more likely to buy from a person or an organization whose story they believe in and which resonates with them. In one study, Deb Small at the University of Pennsylvania and her colleagues wanted to determine how to best raise money for Save the Children, a charity focused on the well-being of children worldwide. They created 2 versions of a marketing pamphlet. The first version featured statistics about the magnitude of problems facing children in Africa. The second version also featured those statistics, but in addition provided information about Rokia, a 7-year-old girl from Mali, who faced the threat of severe hunger. The subjects were given $5 as compensation for the study, and before leaving, the researchers asked if they wanted to donate any money to the cause. The individuals in the story condition gave nearly twice as much money as those in the statistics condition. We used to think it was our rational brain that makes decisions. Now we know it's emotion driving decisions, and we rationalize the decision afterwards. Finally, I want to talk about personal connection. Research shows that if we present statistics to an audience, a certain part of the brain called the Broca's and Wernicke's area gets activated. So the language processing part of the brain is activated, and we can understand but not feel. When a story is shared, the audience feels the story. Our whole brain is activated and meaning is extracted. The meaning of the story comes from the personal connection the audience feels when they're listening to the story. And when a story is well told, they're able to feel connected not just to the story, but to the storyteller. When most of us think of advocating for ideas, we go to statistics, we go to convincing arguments, facts, and figures. But studies show that if we share a story, people are more likely to remember the message, be persuaded by it, feel personally connected to it. And when data and stories are used together, audiences are moved both intellectually and emotionally. For lasting effect, you need to persuade the rational brain, but also resonate with the emotional brain. Recent behavioral research has shown why stories are so powerful. It's because they're meaningful. Those who tell the best stories will become the best leaders. If we consider the simple question, what is the story, or why am I doing this, we may find we make very different choices of how we spend our time. Isabel Allende once wrote, "Silence before being born, silence after death. Life is nothing but noise between those two unfathomable silences." But there is signal and there is noise. And how do we reduce the noise? Story.
So, if you want to create a powerful, memorable point that will connect with your prospect, then use anecdotes. Now, here's what a lot of people say. Well, what if I don't have one of those? What if I don't have anything interesting to talk about that can relate to my prospects? The truth is, everybody has an anecdote. So the real question should be, which one of these anecdotes can I take to help communicate the point or message I want to make? Okay, so now let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We've looked at the anecdotal disclosure strategy and how to use it to create powerful, memorable messages. We've seen an example of how to use it to drive a point across. And we even got the views of an expert storyteller on the subject. Okay, now, as always, if you have any questions, send them to the Mind of Marshall Facebook page or email questions@sebenomics.com. And if you're stuck and struggling in your business, then apply for one-on-one coaching where I'll personally help guide you through the rigors of growing a business. And you can join the growing list who went from making little or no money to building out solid additional income. As always, you won't be accepted simply because of price. You will be judged on attitude and other things. So nobody's time is wasted, especially mine, because that's the most important thing you have. And nothing can get that back, not even any price. So only apply if you're deadly serious. And we can start transforming your lifestyle in a matter of days. Okay? Until next time, take care and remember to implement. Yes, Marshall, over and out.